Well, there's that little thing that says we're live. We'll just wait for the audio to catch up. Good evening. The one far right racist thug that's out there.
Me.
Mrs. W, she says.
I've got you and I've got sound.
You've got. Yeah, I've got it over here as well. That's fair enough. We're up and running then.
Got an alert as well.
You did?
Yeah.
It's more than I can get.
You know you're live.
I still have to go and search for bloody comments on the videos. It's,
Look, at least they're letting your subs mount up.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting the subs. Good evening, Stitch.
They're not letting them watch anything, though.
3,400 subs now, and on average 30 bloody views a video. You know, it's obvious that something's interfering with it. Good evening, Marines.
Evening, Stitch, Little Stitch, and of course, Resist.
Yeah, Resist in the background, Little Stitch. Peter, good evening, my friend. And my chief lurker's probably in there somewhere as well. So. But,
will be later.
King Sausage. Yeah, I mean, I put out some breaking news earlier on Faceache. I couldn't be asked with YouTube. It was good evening, Paulette. Hope you're well.
Evening, Jack.
I mean, you couldn't make it up. And it just proves what we said about Starmer's dealing with France. It's a very, very inexpensive joke. Because it seems under the one in, one out deal, it's gone from a one in, one out to one coming back again deal. You know, are they sending them out there with fucking return tickets or something? Good evening, Karen. Yeah, he was sent back under the 1+1 deal or whatever. And apparently he's been caught coming back across in another small boat. And to be honest, good evening, Jen. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he was the only one. It's the only one they've discovered and released the details on, but they got out. But so that's what the French are doing. We send them one and they just chuck them back in the camps to catch the next available boat.
Well, somebody told him you can do it and get £2,000 to go back voluntarily.
Where did he get the money from? Are the French giving him the money to pay for the smugglers? Who are the real smugglers now? And he basically said that France wasn't a safe place to be. And straight away, I'm like, no, because it's full of you fucking people. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was. But it just pulls their ideas apart, doesn't it? You know? Yeah, right. All their corruption's being exposed. Oh, no, I'm not even going to guess how much longer they can last in power, to be honest. But, you know, it's literally hourly. Something's getting exposed about them. You know, we got the China Gate. I've got a couple of notes on that in a bit. But I think the most disgusting one I've seen was that, what's her name? Our very own sugar, Jess Phillips. The so-called safeguarding minister for the kids. I mean, you look at her. She's trying to support that Labour bob that all the women have got, but hers it looks dank and fucking greasy and just sort of hangs there, doesn't it? Like it's just been plonked on the top of her head. But yeah, I mean, a despicable woman. I mean, yesterday coming up with all the excuses why there's a hold up in the grooming gangs inquiry. And, this is a big thing. This is the one that will, I believe, pull Labour down if it gets done. I'll get on to that in a minute. But she wouldn't answer a simple question, couldn't finish a sentence. She was getting angry, she was getting flustered because the others were asking the right questions. I mean, yesterday she had lost 2 from the panel that they had intended for the inquiry. That's now gone up to 4, with 3 of those, I believe, being victims of the grooming gangs, stating that they've got no confidence in the government and what have you to resolve all this. And another one today was an ex-police officer who is apparently, allegedly, a Labour freak. Said, "Oh no, the women were right, and I'm not going to stab, so I'm not having it." So they're all getting fed up with the delays. Why don't you put Khan and Rowley in charge? Oh, fucking hell, wouldn't that be a ghoul? But, yeah, I mean, those 2 should be investigated and arrested anyway. Because it does look like the Met have turned first, haven't they? They turned on Khan by admitting that it goes on. And they tried to redeem themselves in a small way over something else. But she was saying they got to go through the evidence and what have you. Well, Rochdale had 40 years of evidence, and that was 5 years ago. So, there's somewhere to start and get on with it. But, Labour are blocking it at every turn because they're up to their necks in it, in one way or the other, including the cover-ups. And then you got the little Islam-loving Mahood, the Home Secretary. She weighed in, condemning Jess Phillips, and said, "We will not leave a stone unturned in this inquiry." Well, they'll all be left unturned if you don't fucking get on with it, missus. But no, there shouldn't be. It should be in depth. Nobody can hide. People can be made to testify. This is all thanks to a law that Labour brought in and put in themselves, the Hillsborough Law, where no one in officialdom can hide from scrutiny or investigation. So that's one thing they did right anyway. But she didn't want it diluted. Well, we know it will be anyway, but she's saying all this while Labour's doing everything they can to hold it up. They make a promise and it's followed by lies and then followed by cover-ups and followed by more lies to cover up the cover-ups. How long are we going to have to wait? Don't forget 5 years on, the COVID inquiry is still going on. And there's more and more coming out now surrounding the post office. Something that happened before the Horizon kick up over the tech they were using. With similar sort of problems coming up. I am going to predict now that this inquiry will probably not take place while Labour are in power. Personally, I think they will try and block it and block it and block it. They may somebody may find some way of forcing them to start it, but I don't think it will take place. It certainly won't be resolved within their parliament until they lose the next election anyway. It'll just be, it's been going on that long. COVID was only around for a year. Others will say it's still around now, but you're entitled to your opinion. So 5 years on, that's still not concluded. And this one's bigger. No, they don't stitch. Sorry, Jen. No, they're bulking it at every opportunity. You know, and it will be the same as the others. That, you know, they've admitted that there was fraud, and it was proved in court that there was fraud around the COVID. As we know, they're trying to claim a bit of that money back, but realistically, they ain't got much hope. People that have claimed compensation for various things, the compensation's been agreed, but Labour are holding it up and refusing to pay it and what have you. It's but we've come to expect it from them, haven't we? Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. Okay. But yeah, I mean, Chinagate. Oh yeah, I was going to do a bit on Chinagate, wasn't it? You know, how deep is Starmer in bed with the communist Chinese? We know he is, but how deep? And I'm not talking about Chinese rent boys there, by the way. That's another story, and I don't go into that sort of thing. Well, it seems it's certainly a lot deeper than what people were thinking originally. We know now, and he's openly showing that he wants to force this digital ID on us. And he's not doing a very good job of that, from what I'm seeing, which is and will morph into the Chinese credit scoring system type thing. You'll literally be policed on your behavior and your carbon footprint. And there's at least one bank that is going along with this, and it's going to start looking into what they consider people's carbon footprints by what they buy and what they spend their money on. Mrs. W brought up a very, very good point when we were talking about this earlier. The fact that the only way they could do that would be get into the database on, say, Tesco's, Asda, because on your normal bank statement, it just has the total spent or total per transaction. So they'd have to go through another database, probably supplied by a third party, and they'd be able to see your itemised spend at a supermarket. A bill for petrol, you've paid for petrol to go somewhere. Okay, it doesn't say how far you travelled, but they can make a good guess by how much petrol you've used. How often do you put in? How much do you put in a time? You know, the bank could collate all that data, and it looks like this. I'm not going to mention the name of the bank for obvious reasons, but it's a bank that I stopped dealing with a long time ago because I considered them a little bit dodgy, shall we say. But yeah, they're going to run your alleged carbon footprint. And guess who'll have access to that? Through your digital ID, because don't forget, they'd have access to all your bank. It's very dodgy, Stitch. It's very dodgy, and I'm convinced somewhere down the line, it is also unlawful. I'm sure it breaks some privacy laws. I'm convinced of it, although I haven't seen one, but that's probably because I haven't looked. But I'm sure it breaks some privacy laws and some human rights laws somewhere down the line. But they have got to change the laws and bring a lot more in before they can actually go that deep, simply because they will have to change some privacy laws. You've got a right to a private life, away from scrutiny, away from government gaze. They're taking away that right. Yeah, you got to think, Jen, people in the city haven't got the area to grow your own.
I couldn't do it physically.
No, I mean, we couldn't do it physically. We couldn't work the land. And you'd be surprised how much land it takes to actually sustain even a small family.
What we could do is rear an animal in the back garden, because you don't eat veg anyway. Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Sheep?
Yeah, that saved me
cow?
mowing the lawn, wouldn't it?
Yep.
I'm just going to be a cableman. Yeah, that's where they'd like to see us, Karen. Sit there and they'd throw the odd bone or the odd lump of meat or rotting vegetables and watch us fight over them. That's what we should do in London, is, like I said before, put the wall around it. All the people that want to leave, and that's it. Turn all the power and services off, stand on the wall and mock them and throw bones at them.
You've been watching Snake Plissken again.
Yeah, Escape from New York. But yeah, this is all going on behind the smoke of China, obviously. The smoke and the mirrors around it. Because it's not just the spying scandal, or the big spy centre come embassy that they want to build in London. Yes, Karen, Hunger Games. We're not far off that, I don't think, when you look at how much stealing and that's going on. It's, but yeah, and the other thing connected to this, which not a lot of people are talking about, is the Chagos deal. Now, as we know, that's going to cost upwards of probably about 50 million by the end of it, more than what they said it was going to do. Or was it 50 billion? I can't remember now. Good evening, Moo. But that would give China a lot of power there, because they're involved in all this. So we're handing over the security, basically, of the China Sea, and I believe it's the Indian Ocean, for China to play fucking whatever they want in. Good evening, Adrian.
Evening, Adrian.
But over this whole Chagos deal, it's not just that. To me, the biggest kick in the bollocks of what they've done with Mauritius. Now, with this deal, they're having to put taxes up and have put taxes up to pay for it. But with the money they gave to Mauritius, you're actually paying tax, so the people on Mauritius can live tax-free. The British government have given them enough money so they don't have to charge their citizens income tax. You know, our tax pennies being paid so another country can go tax free. That is surely that's got to be illegal somewhere.
Even if it's not sheer stupidity.
Yeah, how the fucking hell is that allowed? It's sickening what this government are doing. But China Gate is just showing us how deep they are in this. MI5 have warned them that China's a security risk, so is MI6, so is his own security minister, so have the armed forces, so have other world leaders. But, comrade, nope. He's the biggest security threat to us. But he just blunders on, ignores everything, dismisses everything. It's, I mean, they say Khan and what's his face should be banged up. Rowley. Yeah. I think, as I've always said, to kill a snake, you've got to cut its head off, haven't you? Oh, did you notice the top thing jobby across the top of the chat is gone? I found out how to turn it off again. It gets annoying watching these crowns and numbers come up. It distracts me from what people are saying. If they need to know what I spend my money on now, this is it, Mo. It's you pay with cash. They can't track that. All they can track is the fact that you've drawn cash out of the bank. And this is what I say. Even if cash still in and they've got the digital ID, you'd probably have to show your ID to pay. Yeah. And that's the same with a lot of the shops and supermarkets now have got the digital facial recognition camera shit. So like I said, you follow all them dots, and once you start joining them all together, you see the big picture. But I mean, we know supermarkets track what you spend and on what because they do it for marketing purposes. That they've been doing it for a long, long time. But what they're probably not doing is adding a name to that data. But it won't be long before they will, unfortunately. I did wonder where they'd gone. Where who had gone, Jen?
Your emoji thingies.
Me what? The doodads at the top. Yes. Yeah. I always manage to get rid of that silly bloody live reaction thing because that pisses me off when that keeps going up and down the chat. And not so much here because we don't get a lot of it, but on a lot of channels that have it, if you're a moderator, you've got to wait for the bloody thing to go further up the chat so you can click on the dots to moderate it because them fucking things are all in the way.
No, the top Trump fan thing.
Yeah. But I always wanted to get rid of the hearts, didn't I? And what have you? And
I found that get in the way for an administrator.
I found out how to do that. I think it was Dan told me. But then the week before last, I managed to get rid of that top fan thing. Last week, I couldn't find the way to get rid of it. And today, the thing to get rid of it came back in the editing and customization of the stream. You know, such as my knowledge of tech.
But no, it's little things like that that'll throw him off his
Can you
path.
do some procedure on the crown in this country? Yeah, I wish I
mean-
could, mate. I really wish I could, Moo. But we have had a little bit of good news, I suppose, in a way, from Rowley of the Met again. Keep bringing that little prick up, don't I? They've announced that they're going to stop investigating non-crime hate incidents. Why haven't you got the people to keep doing it? Or is it the fact that you're not getting any prosecutions because it's not actually a crime? So nobody's paying any money, are they?
Well, if every case is getting thrown out of court, there's not much point pursuing these.
Well, the thing is, before that came in, I mean, the police were doing a similar sort of thing with one of the public order acts. One of the sections in that. And because they were losing out in court, and they were just using it to harass people. But with that, it meant they had another avenue to harass people. And because it was put in place by the government, although it's not a law, they can legally harass people. Plain and simple. That's all these little annoying laws are for, that they put in place. It's to keep you harassed, to keep you unsettled, keep you fighting against each other. Just like they're doing by cancelling some protests and not others, which has happened in with UKIP in London, with one they'd got planned. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I could see the authorities' point of view starting a fucking anti-immigrant fucking march in the middle of basically an immigrant area. Yeah, that's going to put people's noses out of joint. But it's nothing that the pro-Palestine mob don't do. Yet, obviously, because they're Starmer's pets, or he thinks they are, they don't do it. As long as you need a crime, no franchise, there'll always be a police farce. Yeah, well, the thing is, Moo, I've always looked on, say, well, I won't say the smaller crimes, but let's say the crimes where you get found guilty, you get a big fine. And basically, if you've got the sort of money that you can pay some of the fines, then you can go out and commit a crime. All you do is pay for it. Why do you think they give you a receipt? So, you're going to get fined 500 quid for a motoring offence, so you put 500 quid in the bank, go out and commit the crime. Crime per payment. That's why I joked about the silly no swearing crime next year. Yeah, I'll quite happily give a copper 20 quid so I can stand there and abuse him a few times.
Well, Bloody's not going to be on the list, is
No.
it? Because they're using that in the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of MPs caught swearing in the House and swearing at other members, which makes it even worse. Can you get rid of the $sign in the corner of StreamYard? I haven't got a $sign in the corner of StreamYard.
The duck?
Oh, you mean the duck? Yeah, you can stitch, but you've got to have the paid version.
The free version, you can't get rid of it. You've got to pay for StreamYard to get rid of it.
Yeah, I use the free version 2 hours a week. Sometimes I'll use it for screen recording or recording downloaded videos and stuff like that to put in the daily, well, not so daily videos now. Yeah, you need to pay for the upgrade to be able to get rid of that, and it gives you a bit more features. Well, I don't use a lot of the features other than the panel anyway, which I can have. I might even open that in a bit actually, just for tonight, which allows me 6 guests on. I think it's 6, might be 10. But if you have the paid version, you can have as many as you like up there. You get unlimited streaming time, not just 2 hours a month. And you can remove that. There are some gains, but most of the gains to it are of no use to me. I wouldn't use half of them. You know, it's like backdrops and all that sort of shit and different things popping up on the screen, which I don't do on stream.
Thank you, Jim.
It's the same with the editing suite I use for the videos. Yeah, it's Chinese, I know, but it's a free one and it's an easy one. But you do only get the basics of it, and a lot of features you can't use unless you subscribe to the upgrade. Sorry if I keep scratching. I haven't had a shower since I cut my whiskers back, and obviously I've got fucking hairs everywhere.
Thank you, Jen.
Even though I changed my shirt.
Stitch. Sorry, thank you, Stitch.
But yeah, with CapCut, you got lots of features as well. There's effects, transitions between clips and films and pictures. You can have layers for your videos and pictures. But what they seem to do is if you use a feature too often, like on the transitions, it will be on the free list one day. And then if so many use it, all of a sudden you can't use it because they've added it to the pay list. That's one of the reasons I keep swapping around the transitions on the videos. But again, you know, with the amount of video in and editing I do, I can't warrant paying for the upgrade, and I probably wouldn't use a lot of the features on it again. So I can just about start a line and keep it. I'll tell you what, Stitch. He's a good friend of the channel. He has been away for a while at the moment. He has let me know his reasons, and yeah, I agree with him. He's taken a break. Andy Red Volvo. When I first started on YouTube, I used to go into other people's lives, but only ever in the comments, because I didn't have a camera and this, that, and the other. And on one of the lives one day, who was it? Media X Media, something like that. And actually on the stream in the chat, he talked me through the processes of getting on the panel. And it, you know, I've advice from everybody, and once you get used, even I still get mixed up, Stitch, as you know. I'll press the wrong button. It takes me ages to share something on the screen. You know, you get people that one picture after another where you have to set all that up in the background for them to come up. And how you do that, I don't know. You know, you must have a dozen fucking screens. But, yeah.
Have you got yourself a tablet then, Stitch? Is that what you're using to go live?
I mean, I could go live from my phones, but neither of my phones are new enough to accept the YouTube app. They just won't do it.
Yeah, but the smaller the device, the more difficult it is to be able to control everything.
Yeah.
It's great when you've got a PC with 2 monitors and you can have StreamYard and YouTube and not having the device trying to fight over which has got access
well,
to what.
she just uses her phone, so it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult. Simply because of the size. Sometimes you can get the picture, you can't get the text, and it's hard to see anyway. But for me, it's, I've got 2 screens open. I've got one side has got it's reduced screen. One side is YouTube, so I can see the comments. The other side is Facebook. Why I keep that open, I don't know. On the other screen, I've got the whole of StreamYard, whole screen, which I can react and see to the text on. But if I'm doing something on that screen, I can't look over there and do that.
And that's the thing with the phone, you can only look at one thing at a time.
Yeah. I mean, the smallest I've done it on was the laptop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I struggle on that.
Yeah. But yeah, Stitch, if you've got a computer that will connect okay to StreamYard, because it's surprising the power StreamYard needs. I've got a little toy laptop, one of the kids bought it for one of the kids, and it could not cope with video to StreamYard. I couldn't go on anything, any panels. It just hadn't got the processor power. But if you've got something that will do it, it'll be far, far easier for you, though. Definitely.
Well, I'm looking to update my laptop before long anyway, because that is quite an old one. It is a good one, but it's already had one upgrade on it, memory-wise, to accommodate streaming. And it's the one I originally used to run the channel from, with another screen plugged into it. So I used to have a laptop screen and a second one. But it got to a point where I was doing so much on it that the poor little dear was getting confused. And it started disobeying me, so that got me confused and annoyed. I do use it occasionally when we're on holiday if I want to post a video. But to be honest, the editing and everything, it takes twice as long to do anything on it. So I'm looking at either getting a better second-hand one or just bite the bullet and buy a new one. My issue with that is I've heard of all the horror stories about Windows 11. And of course, that will probably come with a new computer.
But a lot of the issues they had with Windows 11 was teething problems.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
So things have got better in that respect.
But it would just be nice to have one computer up to date, shall we say. Because all of my laptops, I used to clutter them up so much, and eventually I used to ask for too much from them. And that's why I was grateful for this big setup I got here, which eventually, and probably not too long away, will have to be changed, because there's no support for Windows 11, Windows 10, and things are going to start going wrong. And it would mean going to a lovely little bloke we know and wiping the thing and reinstalling a version of Windows 10, which would probably end up with the same problems happening. So, but we'll see how. Well, I'm going to keep using this one as long as I can. Obviously, I don't want to have to fork out the money for that sort of level of tech. Just a tight ass. Don't pay full price for anything.
That computer's got many a year left in it, probably more than you.
I wouldn't be at all surprised.
You're just such a fucking pessimist. Oh, it's gonna break. I've had a brand new kettle. No, yes, brand new kettle out there now for about 6 months. It's still in the box because you said the kettle was playing up.
Yeah, well, the light stopped working and then it came back on. Yeah, Jen, I mean, doing a live stream, to me, it takes a lot more confidence than doing a video. Simply because you know people are watching you in real time. In a video, you can go back and correct mistakes if you do editing. I believe you can do editing on your phone, the basic clip and cut and stuff. I've never tried, to be honest. I always do it
Depends
on
on
here.
the phone.
Yeah, modern one, you
A
should be able to
modern
do it.
iPhone, you can probably
But,
make it sing and dance and make a cup of tea.
But I've always preferred to be the desktop job. It's just easier. You got more resources. You know, you're not like this trying to sort stuff out. You know, it's, although I have got to replace the USB power supply thing there that runs the lights and the speakers. It's one by one the ports are failing. I had to switch over to my spare one earlier because the bloody light was flickering. My actual desk lamp that packed up working in the week. So I've ordered another one of them. Yeah, it's, and I've always been like that, you know, same, because that's how I was brought into live streaming. Somebody showed me step by step how to do it. Good evening, local. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I actually, when I'm on holiday, when I do the fishing videos, they're far and few between now due to health. I can't last on the beach like I used to. I always film with my phone.
And you started with your phone?
And I started doing videos on my phone, yeah, but I always put them on the computer to post them, simply because my phones wouldn't connect to YouTube. They're too old.
They're too old.
Who wears a mask and he's only type? Yeah, I can see that with you, Moo. But yeah, Jen, it is. Sorry, Stitch. It is like that. It depends on what sort of streams you go on, the people you get in. As I keep saying, the people that come in here are always very, very respectful, not just to me, but to each other. And we haven't had to do any modding on here for the last 2 years. And
look,
we don't get many in, but, you know, that helps. The people that are in here want to be in here, you know.
If you can, have you got much more to say? Because if you want to,
I've got a few things to go through.
I was going to say, rattle on through them then, because Stitch may want to come up and have a proper chat.
Well, I did say I'm going to open the chat panel in a bit, so yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it does take a bit of confidence, Stitch. And I've known people that have started a channel, they've done a couple of videos, and they just can't put it together simply because they can't relax in front of the camera. That's the biggest part of it. Yeah, exactly, Karen. Most of us have known each other for some time through other channels initially. You know, it's but yeah, it does. Some people have got it and some people haven't. You know, you usually find the ones with the charisma and that can really do it well are the ones that are bigger channels, as it was.
Or just sit in the background.
Yeah, or just sit in the background. Good evening, Steve. Late to the party. I'll dock your 10 biscuits front pair for that one. Well, there's a quick one. What do you think of this robbery in the Louvre in France then? I mean,
when I'm cleaning
how blatant can you be? you know, in broad daylight, the way they done it. But that goes to the same old saying, the same as if it's easier to hide something in plain sight. I mean, to most locals, they were probably just a repair crew going up a ladder to repair something on the building. Probably surprised the poor fuckers inside a bit, but it had to be a targeted heist. They went straight for what they wanted. They didn't grab a lot. They just probably had a list. I'm good listening while playing games. Yeah, she does that in the background unless I ask her to look at something or somebody asks a question. And then she'll pipe up, little head there poking up over the top of the laptop. But,
well, I can multitask.
Yeah, that's something I can't do. But yeah, I think you'll find that those pieces that were stolen, I mean, they can't put them on the open market. Even the stones to be registered, the diamonds and that, all their little flaws. So it's got to be under orders or to sell to a collector, an underground collector. Oh, hello.
That thing misbehaving again.
Sounds-
that or it might just have been an insurance thing. You know, they're running short on money.
Oh, I very much doubt that over there. Not with the Royal Crown jewels and such as well. Jesus.
But like you said, who says it was the real stuff out on
Yeah,
display?
I mean, most museums put copies out, don't they? You know, the copies are very, very valuable in themselves because they do use genuine diamonds and that. But a lot of these things, they do put copies out and the real ones are kept locked up.
And there's only 2 or 3 real T-Rex skeletons in the world. So how come they're in every fucking museum?
Models are the same one. Yeah, the molds. The words for a false flag mean out. Yeah, it could be to draw attention away, put a big story out there, drawing attention away from the other troubles they've got there. Like Macron could be out and Le Pen could be going in.
When they described it and said they'd just put a ladder up to the window, I got this vision of somebody with a ladder and a bucket.
Yeah, pretending to be a window cleaner.
I didn't expect the ladder to be on the back of a truck.
A little bucket and a chamois hanging out the back. Yeah, sadly, Karen, that what's going off in Dublin now. I'm not surprised, and I'm surprised it hasn't gone off worse than it has here, because we're seeing more on this now of them being that brazen and attacking local to the hotels or where they are, you know. And the Gardaí over there, they're the same as the police here. They're protecting them. They're protecting rapists, you know. And the Irish have been fighting back for a long time now, same as the rest of the European countries. Because don't forget, Europe's forcing these people onto them, same as they are in their own countries over there. We're lucky they can't force us. They're allowing them to come through and helping them to come through, as far as I'm concerned. But they can't force them on us like they can over there. And it's changed so much of the Irish culture, it's ridiculous. I mean, Karen will know exactly what I'm on about. She over there regular to see family and that. And I mean, even some of the reports coming from my mum's hometown, right over on the west coast, there's horror stories coming from over there as well. So it's everywhere, unfortunately. But are things going to change? Well, there's so many countries now kicking up against von der Leyen in the EU. I don't see how they could viably carry on, to be honest. I mean, Italy's given them the middle finger on many things. France is starting to do the same. You know, even some of the smaller countries, that they're not paying the fines because they're not obeying the rules. And they've said, no, you fine us all you want. You're not getting any. We're not having this dross coming through our borders. We don't care what you say. And you've got more and more right-wing governments appearing in the EU countries now. But again, we've seen what's happened over the last few years in Europe. Good evening, Tony. You know, as close as home as Ireland. I mean, it's been a big red flag for some time, and the government have taken no notice of it. And I think, unless they do something very, very drastic, the riots and the protests that we see on the streets in the European countries, in their cities, I think we're going to end up seeing here. And the only people are to blame are the government. And I'm not just blaming this government for this. You know, a lot of this was going on under the Tories' watch as well. And I think other people are seeing the same. And I think that's why these smaller parties now are starting to see a rise in their favouritism and their members. It's because people have come totally disillusioned with the top two, or ex-top two.
I was going to say, what was the top two?
I mean, I think Labour's down in fourth in the polls at the moment.
I was going to say, I think the top two are Nige and Reform and Lib Dems.
Yeah, and I mean, Labour are doing themselves no favours by trying to cancel the next local elections, because it's blatantly obvious they're only doing it to avoid a wipeout. You know, it's like tying somebody's hands to the desk so they can't sign, basically, because they don't want democracy. They don't want us having our say. And this is another way they can silence us of having a say. Or, in the case of voting, an opinion. But yeah, I've never known a government to put laws in place to cover their own ass from their own people, the people they're supposed to be serving. I've never seen this before. It's
because we don't want him. Why you won't go out in public?
Yeah, I mean, they've lost. They know the public have lost faith in them, and I believe this is another reason, which is another little bit of good news. They've dropped their definition of Islamophobia after paying for God knows how many sessions and committees and meetings and going out and meeting the public to define it. Well, they've dropped that now. You know, there is nothing that Labour have touched that hasn't cost us an extortionate amount of money. And the thing is, everything they've done, we're not going to see any return on what it's cost us. That's the thing. We're not getting anything out of it, and we're not going to get anything out of it. I mean, Rachel from account. Oh dear, Rachel. Look at the mess she's made of things. Now, right at the beginning, Starmer said, we're going to run this country how we want to run it. If you don't like it, the door's open, you can leave. And then along comes Rachel with her size fucking 10s and starts putting things in place that is actually pushing people out the door, mainly those with money. It's only us poor saps that can't afford to leave the fucking country that are still going to be here. Everybody else that can afford to leave is going to be gone. And those that will be left will be reliant on the state because there will be no jobs. There won't be any food production. Companies won't be able to afford to buy in imports. There'll be no power, no electricity, no gas. Because all the people doing that took their money in their companies and fucked off. We're back in the Stone Age. But yeah, I mean, it's come out this week now that in the last 6 months, Labour have borrowed £100 billion. Borrowed. Borrowed. And apparently that is the new record in 6 months. Even with all the farce around COVID, at least with the COVID farce and around the money, we did get some usable materials. We got a lot that fucking wasn't, and a lot didn't turn up, but we did get a little bit of something for our money. I mean, what happened to all these fucking breathing things? Devices that they bought for the brand new Nightingale hospitals. Where have all them gone? I'm sure some countries would love to buy respirators. That's it. That's the word I was looking for. I'm sure some third world country could do with them, or some richer country could probably buy them.
They've put them into a big warehouse so that they can get them out again when COVID 2017 kicks back in.
No, they'd be buying new ones because those ones are out of date. But I mean, that 100 billion, I mean, that's according to Kimmy Badenoch. I haven't seen any proof of it, but yeah, they've all been put in dry storage, Jen, as far as I know. So what she's saying there is basically they've wasted as much money as we did, if you listen to Badenoch, because they wasted an awful lot. Not her personally, but yeah, no, we're not going to gain anything. Same angle. Yes, Steve. I mean, you look at what Trump's given the Ukraine.
Lent.
Yeah, exactly. It's been lent. It wasn't given. Any money he's given is a loan. Yes, he's took a lot of mineral rights off them, and I believe it's anything up to 50% of some of it, in lieu of paying back from the loan, which makes good business sense if you're going to make more money out of that in the long run. Good evening, Graham.
Welcome.
But I'm surprised, she blames everybody for the problems. She can't take responsibility. I mean, I'm half expecting her to turn around and say the black hole they created is an asset, but there's only one way I'd put us and her together, and but yeah, they can't take the blame for anything. And I mean, next month's budget, everybody's surmising what's coming. Certain avenues of people, shall I say, have said this is definitely coming. Well, we know we're going to get hit with tax somewhere down the line because she just can't carry on like this. They haven't got any money left. They've got all these plans that they want to spend billions on for, and they haven't got billions. They haven't got pounds, let alone billions. But the budget is going to hit this country, and I mean everybody. Doesn't matter what level of money your bank account holds, what business you do, whether you're on benefits, whether you're on the sick. This is going to hit everybody hard. and right at the worst time of year. You know, they dug a very deep hole, and they've got no chance of climbing out of it now. And just changing the leader of Labour isn't going to solve the issues. The whole fucking party needs to go.
It's going to get time. It's going to take time though to get things sorted once we get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
The issues we've got are not going to be sorted overnight.
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago, Steve. What they actually said, they hadn't actually bought them, but they put tenders out for the body storage. But they have bought, apparently, I can't verify this, so I've got to say this is only allegedly. They have allegedly bought some actual mobile morgues, as it were, to do autopsies as well. Do you know what?
Do you know what?
No, I thought my eyes were going bad looking at the screen again, but it's not. My glasses are bloody filthy. I can't see a thing.
I'm sitting here using me.
Excuse me for a minute, guys. I'm actually blind here now, as far as the screens are concerned. So take the opportunity to slag me off while I can't see it. There you all are. Yeah, it is turning chilly, Jen. It's temperatures have dropped quite drastically here over the last week. Right, let's.
Can't say as I've noticed. I turned the thermostat up and the heating came on.
Yeah, we've had the heating on. And trouble is, I do feel the cold badly. It doesn't have to drop much for me to notice it because of the blood thinners and stuff, the amount that I'm on. Plus, I'm sat in the coldest corner of the room, as I've said before.
Plus, I can't type with frozen fingers. I have to work too.
Yeah, you get alternative. Well, that's another thing they're doing, and it's Steve, is the propaganda. You know, as I said the other day, it's you know, new variant season, as I like to call it. Well, there's a link to the panel if anybody does want to come up. I will ask usual thing that you appear on camera in the back room if you do want to come up. I will give you warning before I put you up so you can turn your camera back off. Can you light farts? Yes, you can, Graham. But if you intend to, I'd be very careful about what you eat to induce them. Some burn, some explode, just like a proper fart. Yeah, they're predicting it's dropping down, Jen. I mean, last weekend they predicted snow, for crying out loud. But that was from one of these channels on Facebook that constantly puts out, oh, there's a new variant of this and a new variant of that. You know, go and turn yourself into a fucking pin cushion. Yeah, no worries, Graham. No worries, mate. Oh, I meant to throw it up there last week. You know, give people a chance to come on and say in person what they think about anything that I've gone through tonight. I do tend to rattle on for the first hour. Various subjects, some because I'm still trying to catch up with them. And as I say, it changes that quick. over things that it's a job to keep up with the videos, especially when you get the the ME and that like I've got. I mean, last week I didn't feel too good. This week I'm feeling a lot better. Although I still feel as if I got the flu or something, which I usually start to get this time of year because I always have problems with my sinuses. And that's why I call it the season of many variants. You came in briefly there. Yep, I can see who that is. You happy to leave your camera on, Graham? Give us a thumbs up.
Of course I am.
There you go. Oh, you've done
Now
the
that
same,
I'm
have
in,
you?
well, now that I'm in the chat, I can't access messages or anything. So if
That's
anyone
all right.
wants to say anything specifically to me, I'll have to rely on either yourself or Heather to read it out. I haven't even got it on my live screen TV. I'm purely working through my phone. Anyway, hello, everyone.
All right.
I just thought I'd join in the fun for a few minutes,
Well,
taking a break from Gran Turismo and just...
we could have a nice, clear vision of everybody next week if we wanted to, because we've actually got a new telly arriving tomorrow.
Oh, happy days. Is it one of these newfangled smart TVs? High definition?
Yeah, this one is, but it's and it annoys Heather more than me. Over the year, it's got you get the burn lines, the brown
Burn lines?
marks.
Oh, yes.
It's got them on it, and when it's connected to the internet, it will just lose its connection. But I like to have it connected simply because of a weekend when there's no F1 on, no tin top racing.
Yeah.
Sandpod shows the drag racing live, the big events from the Friday right the way through. And so I put it on the big telly and I'll just kick back and watch the drag racing live.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean about burn lines. It's when you've got the same display up for too long and it eventually etches into the screen, no matter what comes up afterwards. Is that the one? So you've got an overlaid shadow eventually, isn't it? Something like that.
Right, I'm taking a chance. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello. You alright?
I'm all
Hello.
right.
Is this,
You all right?
I'm alright.
who's this? I can't see the screen name on my phone. I can't see the screen name. I can't see the screen name of the new.
I think it's Stitch.
It is Stitch, yeah. But I've changed.
Giggles,
It's the spelling of it that came up in the back room.
It's just because Moo told me to change it to we did change it to L Stitcho, but then we decided that because my nickname's Glitch, because I'm always messing up things, so we changed it to L Glitcho.
My phone font is so tiny I can't read it.
And a waving emoji, right?
Shit.
Yeah, it just says El Glitcher.
No
Jen
way.
sends you a waving emoji.
Am I right in thinking? I don't know if I picked up on a message that came up on your earlier vid. Is it
Hi,
Stitch
Jen.
that's going in hospital next week? Is that you, mate?
Nope.
No,
not me. No.
Oh, it might have been Scar Guess. I can't remember. I know someone mentioned that being in hospital.
Star Jesus is in hospital at the moment. Right. He sent his apologies to everybody. So he's going to miss this week.
No, that's fair, dude.
If you're watching it back, Scar, or you do happen to see it, get well soon, mate. He didn't say what the problem was, and you know me, I don't inquire. So, unless
get well soon, Scar.
And also for all anyone else that's sort of like, under the cosh, feeling ill, bits and bats, not just depression with mental health, but physical, mental, the whole lot. We're all going through a world of pain at the moment, aren't we?
Well, it's the start of the flu season, as it were. And the way I look at it, if you read all the science, people aren't battling it like they used to because their bodies won't, because of interventions that weaken their immune system. So every little bug that is going round, people will catch because their bodies aren't fighting it off.
Well, funny you should mention about fighting bugs and stuff. I'm one of those that chose not to have the kung flu clock shot, and all right, I might be getting older. I might get the occasional coughs and colds, but it certainly isn't another variant of the kung flu like they would like to make out, is it?
No.
Well, if it is, it's only a cold.
Well, look, I actually know. I mean, every year, without fail, at some point during the flu season, I do catch the serious flu. I've done for many years. Only the once, but it will knock me off my feet for about 3 or 4 days. It does hit me hard.
Right.
I haven't taken the flu jab. I
Yeah,
never had.
me either.
Never will. But
I got ill once
good
like
evening,
that, like you said, Pops. Like it knocked me down for like quite a while, but I haven't had the jabber either. But I know people that have, and they've had it like 5 or 6 times, and I haven't. And I've got all my other problems, and I've only had it. But it felt like the flu. That's what it felt like. It was just a flu.
a very good mate of ours. He's had all his shots and what have you, and he's had it. I think it's 3 times in the last year.
Mm.
You know,
Anything that the government tries to push, I push back because I just don't trust a word those assholes are saying. It's almost as though they're trying to kill us off or control us or whatever. I'm fucking fed up with it.
I mean,
I'm trying to watch my language here.
As you know, I take meds for my conditions. Now they've now sorted me properly. I've got a GP that I see only him. He knows my case. He's very, very good. Yeah. And he's actually Asian, which doesn't come into it. I mean, he's a brilliant doctor. He puts things in layman's terms.
That helps.
So it makes it easier for you to understand. He actually listens to what you're asking and telling him. And he also knows what I'm like with what meds I take. He knows I'm going to, before I even agree to take them, I'm going to go away and I'm going to look at the side effects, look at research on them. Now, I never used to do that until we found out they were lying to us over the COVID.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, if he's going to give me a drug, he will give me 2 or 3 options. Now, there's one I'm on there. There's 3 other companies make their version of it under a different name.
Mm-hmm.
What he did, he gave me a list of all the side effects for all 3 of them. And then he said, if you want to make your decision based on them, he said, you can pick which one you want. He said, and that's the one I'll prescribe. You know,
that shows a decent GP. That says a lot. So I'm glad you've got a decent one, pal.
Yeah. And the real nice thing about it is I've got one very, very good consultant who is also Asian. And I've always praised them up to each other as the only 2 that have really helped and tried to sort some of my situation out. And it turns out they're bloody married. She's a consultant at the hospital and he's my GP. And
well,
they do.
I suppose that's one way of keeping it in-house. Ba-bumps.
Yeah. Oh, they're brilliant people. Brilliant people.
I know a lot of people knock, those from overseas and this and that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad feeling at the moment going on with grooming gangs and bits and bats, but I don't tar all the people with the same brush, nor do you. And at the end of the day, there's bad in every race, every creed, you name it. And politicians are probably amongst the worst. So, shut up, say no more.
Complaining about with the information they are giving out and holding back from the grooming gangs inquiries that have already happened, the smaller ones. They still not will release or talk about the religion or the background of the people that are involved in this.
Yeah, because they know there'll be a huge amount of backlash, isn't it?
Yeah, but the way I look at it, it's the majority of the perpetrators that do these crimes do come from that background and that religion, or several.
Unfortunately, yes.
But I also realise there are white English guys and
Oh,
white
God, yeah.
Westerners that commit the same type of crime, but not
Yeah.
as prolifically. You know,
And you
That's far
think
I'm
though,
concerned.
until they can get their heads round and admit the type of people that are doing these crimes, they ain't going to get nowhere. Until they admit that, it ain't going to go anywhere.
it's
And in the
stupid though, isn't it?
meantime,
Because
all
it's
they're
like
going to
if we
do is,
knew. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's right. Go ahead, Stitch.
because if it was like a white Englishman, then they'd say that. But the reason why they're not is because of who it is. So it's like we already know who it is. So it's stupid to not even admit it. Because like if it was a white Englishman, that would be the first thing
If,
that comes
if,
up.
if I'll tell you what, if the majority or there was as many of white Englishmen committing the same crimes, that inquiry would have happened years ago and they'd all be fucking banged up.
Yeah,
That's the only
I
reason.
think we're
You know,
stupid.
they call it Islamophobia. It's not. It's
It's not.
critical thinking. You're trying to make out a
it's,
group of people do something that they're not, you know.
It's a wrong and it's a wrong, and you can be anything can be a wrong, and it isn't. It is. It's not like it's some culture, is it? Anyone can be that. So it's stupid. They just think we're stupid that we don't know it, but it's like we all know it. So why don't you just admit it?
Yeah. I mean, as Loafer says there, no culture shame in being expressed. And exactly,
Mm-mm.
all cultures are not equal. Far from it.
Nope.
You
as
know?
far as I'm concerned, a nonce is a nonce and an oxygen thief and deserves castration at best. And I mean physical
Completely.
castration, not medical castration. I mean physical castration. Then they're less likely
Repair
to
with a
do
pair,
any
pair of
further
nail
harm.
scissors.
You think about it,
Without
in some of the
anaesthetic.
countries where these people have come from, if they get caught being a nonce, they get fucking executed.
Even getting
Yep.
caught for thieving, you get your hand cut off in some countries. So, yeah, why can justice not be served? It's been covered up for too long and boom. Sick of
Mackie
it.
required. Hi, Loafer. But yeah, you know, it's. I mean, I saw a video on X of. I think he was Pakistani. He wasn't Indian. I think he was Pakistani, and he was at one of the protests about the immigration. And again, he went on. He said, "Look, I came here as a legal immigrant." He said, "I came through Heathrow.
Yeah, big difference.
I respect the country. I respect its religion." He said, "Although I've got my own religion, I respect the country's religion. I respect
And laws.
the laws
Yeah,
of the land."
yeah.
You know, he said, "Why can't these people do the same?" He said, "I
They
didn't
want to
come
have
here
their cake and eat it.
of taking over the country or, you know,
It's because they don't have to, though, isn't
beheading
it? That's
anybody."
why.
Yeah,
It's because they don't have to, because when the government cover them up and treat them, double wrap them and treat them like they're,
well, the
they
thing
don't have
is,
to
I've
behave
always
themselves, do
said
they?
you can't. If you've got a country that is breaking down like ours, you're in no fit state to help anybody else.
Damn straight. We should
Financially,
not be interfering in
emotionally,
foreign affairs and anything else at this stage. We need to secure our own bloody homeland, borders,
yeah,
the lot.
exactly. Stop sending all this money out to other countries around the world just because they complained about something. Put that money into this country, get this country back on its feet. But it ain't going to happen with Labour because they want total control over us.
Yeah, well,
Now,
they can stick their digital ID where the sun don't shine for a start.
well, I've heard a whisper coming round out of Westminster today. I won't say who from. But it looks like they're going to be pushing for a referendum on the AI, the
Good luck
digital
with that.
AI.
God help us.
Well, that's what I say, Steve. But you've got to remember there's still a lot of people out there that are for it simply because they'd be comfortable and it would be easier for someone else to run their lives. But if it's put to a referendum, they haven't got to abide by it, but more than likely they would. And it's how many people say now that, yeah, we're rejecting it, we're not going to fucking have it. When it comes to putting the X on a bit of paper, a lot of people change their mind over things. Yeah. They can't say it's not been exposed what it's pushing for. We know where it's going to end up. We've known that right from the beginning, what the end result will be.
They'll restrict the sales of alcohol, tobacco, you name it, fucking everything.
Yep. You won't be able
the first people that should have these bloody digital IDs is the MPs themselves.
You'll probably be penalised for using too many squares.
And you're not arguing for the IDs, are you? Even they, if you gave it to the MPs, like to try and track everything they do, you'd actually be sneaking in the back door, sort of thing. I know what you mean, though. If anyone should be watched, it's them.
They won't need to sneak it in the back door, through the back door. All these little things they're putting in, like saying the kids, the veterans. There's already talk that they're putting it into the army personnel and forces personnel as well.
What as if Army, Air Force, and Navy personnel don't have enough bloody ID already?
Exactly.
That is taking the bumper, isn't it?
And once it's all in place and people have accepted it, it will be bang right now. If you do wrong, you're not having this. If you eat too much red meat, you're not going to be allowed to buy red meat. And it'll end up exactly like the Chinese credit scoring system, because that's what Starmer wants. That is his vision, a totalitarian society.
I'm surprised that there's not been an assassination attempt already.
I'm really surprised. Times, if they had someone like him in America, he'd have probably been taken out by now.
Well, they've already tried it with Trump.
Yeah, and
whether that was a setup or not, but
Starmer don't want to appear in public anywhere.
Yeah, nor does Khan, not unless he's in a bloody armour-plated vehicle. That says a lot.
Calls for him to be arrested
now,
isn't there?
Boris Johnson, bloody buffoon he was and always will be. At least when he was the mayor of London, he used to cycle around. He did show his face in public.
Yeah.
This kind of shit shower? Nah.
Do you know what? I heard recently Boris Johnson, just a couple of days ago, he was on some chat show and he seemed to be arguing on the right side of things. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
and he originally said no to ID years ago.
The only thing I've seen of him lately, he was on the COVID inquiry yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, being re-questioned because it's still on another module, so they'll have all the old ones. But Chris Whitty was on the other day as well, and I do drop in on it. And again,
Chris Whitty with his beautiful expression.
What they did, and I mean, I take this from listening to them, and I do take the time to watch and listen what they're saying. Now, the Tories got accused of a lot over the pandemic. Particularly, you've got the deaths of the pensioners and stuff like that, which basically was down to Hancock, and he admitted it in the inquiry. Yeah, it boiled down to his decisions. Now with Boris,
so why is he not in? Why is he not in jail? Why is he not in jail?
Exactly. This is what I said. These people have been shown up on this, but they're not being held to account for it. The only ones that are being held to account so far are the ones that embezzled the money, because they're tracking them down. Same with Michelle Mone the other week.
Good luck getting that 120 odd million back. Good luck with that one.
No chance. It's got to come from the company that were involved, not her personally. And 16 million, 122 million?
It was 120 odd, I think. 120 odd mil, I think was the figure I've heard.
Account show a balance at the last time somebody checked of £666,000. That was it. So good luck with that.
666, the number of the beast. How convenient.
Yeah. But it's no, it doesn't matter with these inquiries. I mean, the Supreme Court, for crying out loud, the highest court in the land, agreed there had been fraud committed around COVID and lockdowns from the government. But
Yep.
Moan and
Big
that are the only thing they've gone after. And the only thing, the penalty they're paying at the moment is it looks like they got to pay the money back or try and pay it back. No, oh, you're going to get banged up for a year for fraud. Because
No
that's
Stripping of the
penalty.
Baroness title for a start would be a step in the right direction, but under this current shit show, that ain't going to fucking happen, is it?
Taking money under false pretenses is imprisonable in this country. It's against
Should
the
be.
law.
Should
It
be.
is against
Yeah.
the law.
Not to mention the
it comes
death.
under the same thing as if you write a check knowing there's insufficient funds. That is technically an offence.
It's fraud.
There's intent involved, isn't there?
Eh?
There's intent involved.
Yes. Yes.
You are
They knew what they were
passing
doing,
off a
basically.
check that you knew would bounce with the intent to steal, to defraud, to...
Yeah. It's 9 times out of 10 the bank used to send a check back and you'd pay it, but technically that is illegal, writing a check with insufficient funds to cover it. Even if you say oh, I'll write the check today, my wages are being tomorrow, please don't cash it until tomorrow. That is technically under the law still fraud because you haven't got the funds there for that cover that check.
It's called a post-dated check.
A post-dated check might be allowable because I've written a post-dated check in the past.
Yeah.
And it was on the understanding that I get paid such and such a day, my wages clear then, and boom, stick it in on that day, the date on the check, and you get paid. Any problem, come and see me. Never had a problem.
Yeah, well,
But that's because I'm honest.
Can't be presented until that date anyway, because there's no way you'd get it cashed. So,
but if someone offered me a short-term loan based on a post-dated check, that's a different matter compared to the other crap.
I've dealt with people where literally you write 4 checks out 4 months apart, like an instalment. And it's agreeable. It gives you a bit of breathing space to pay each one, make sure the money's there. But again, that's not illegal because they're post-dated. As long as it only becomes fraud if that check is presented before that date, but that makes it illegal for the person presenting it. Because they're trying to cash a check that can't be done at the moment because it isn't in date.
Money, eh?
Well, you say that move, bankruptcy will get them out of all debts. Did you hear what that idiot fucking Lammy come out with?
Oh, do I really want to?
We're going
it's to
borrow
fucking
our way out of
but go on.
We're going to borrow enough money to pay our debts off.
What the fuck? You've got to be kidding me. Did he seriously say that?
Can you be? You know what I mean? I mean, Diane Abbott would have been proud of that one.
Do you remember those old adverts? Mate. Those old adverts on the telly used to come up and go, consolidate your debts.
Yeah.
By borrowing more money.
Well, it's like with these credit check companies that check on your levels, as it were.
Credit score, isn't it?
That's it, credit score.
Yeah.
Did you know each time you apply for them to give you your credit score, they knock scores off your credit?
That's interesting.
With some companies, that's why some of them are saying that they do it without affecting.
Oh, without it affecting your credit score. Is that what you're saying, Heather?
That's why some of them emphasise it, because some of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, the most ridiculous one was a bloke went in to get a loan, just a small loan, not a mortgage or anything big, and he was turned down for his loan. And the reason they give him is, because you haven't borrowed enough money. You can't borrow anything because you haven't borrowed enough or borrowed enough.
Yeah, if you've never borrowed money, then you've got no credit score, which is as good as not having
Yeah.
Some
So
of the
if you've never
genetic.
borrowed money before, it's harder to borrow money.
I was once advised by a financial guy the best way to increase your credit score and get it back if you haven't got one is get a credit card if you can get one. Don't use it as a credit card. Just use it to buy your petrol, buy your shopping, things like that.
Pay it
And
off every
pay
month.
it off out of your wages every month, and that's the quickest way to get a decent credit history.
Well, I worked for a very, very rich guy in Bristol. We were a little toy company, his little plaything on the side, building company and renovations. He used to do a lot of dealings in property that we'd go in and renovate and what have you. And I never had a credit card. Never had one in my life. And he said, well, they're convenient. He said, apply for one. And they sent me one with a £200 limit. They turned me down the first time. And I said, well, okay, you've turned me down because I've got no credit score. But how do I get a credit score if nobody's going to let me borrow money, as it were?
Sure.
So I get the credit card with a £200 limit on it. They said, we'll see how it goes. And I told my boss about this. And he got my name, obviously, and he got the name of the company that gave me the credit card. Again, I won't name them. But this is God's honest truth. Now, he was that high up. He had connections with somebody involved high up in this credit card company. So he said, I'll have a word with him. He said, you work for me. I can give you a reference. And within a month, my credit limit went from £200 to 10 grand.
What did you do with
it? That's quite scary in a way.
Yeah.
But he said, right, you've got that now. He said, I'm going to give you the best bit of advice I'm ever given anybody. He said, never borrow money to improve your lifestyle. Only ever borrow money to make money.
Best advice that you've probably ever had in your life, isn't it, pal? That makes so much sense.
The only time I've ever borrowed a huge amount other than off someone personally, which I have done with family at one point, the only big purchases I've made where I've got to pay any type of monthly payment on it, obviously, was a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I took out simply because the house was a good deal. And I knew damn well if I spent a little bit of money on it, I would make some big profit.
In other words, the equity was there. Yes.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to.
Sensible investment.
Yeah. I mean, I bought the place for a song. I paid 127 grand for it. And by the time I'd finished the repairs, it hadn't been decorated from the fucking 40s by the looks of it. Bought it up to scratch. It was just before the housing market crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was worth nearly 270,000 at that valuation.
So hopefully you cashed out in time.
And that was inside 3 years.
Did you cash out, Rog?
Yeah, I really wish I'd have cashed out a bit earlier, but yeah, that's the problem, Loafer. Back in the early 2000s, they made it too easy for people to borrow money.
I was just going to say that because the amount of self-certification that was allowed, you could present a set of books as a self-employed person claiming that you were earning like 75 grand a year and you could borrow anything up to 7 times that. No wonder the market went tits up when people couldn't bloody make their repayments and shit.
When I applied for my first mortgage many, many years ago, they didn't check anything. The only check that I ever found they did was they wrote to my employer to ask how long I'd worked there.
And that was it?
Yeah, they were only interested in if I'd worked there for more than 6 months. Just the total amount that I used to get in my wages and how long I'd worked there. That was the only check they did.
Irresponsible lending. That was what caused the market to crash, wasn't it?
Yep.
I think. I mean, was it 2008 was the most recent crash? I think. Well, there might have been one since, but I'm well out of estate agency and all that shit.
I especially went through the bank, not an independent mortgage company, simply because there was a lot of wheeling dealing going on between the companies then, and I didn't want to get involved in that. I wanted it straight from the people where the money's going to end up, which is the fucking bank, you know.
Sure. In other words, hidden commissions and bits and bats, yes?
Yep. And that was the only checks they ever did.
Wow. I mean,
and
I
I
don't
did
want to make all
apply
this.
for more than what their system would allow. Like it was so many times your wages, per amount of years you want the mortgage for.
Sure.
And I think it was something like, well, put it in perspective, it was something like 3 times, and I applied for something like 4 or 5 times.
Right. That might be slightly different figures to what I remember. Now, when I was in the game, per se, not on the game, when it came down to financial advice and loans and stuff, it would either be something like you take the husband and wife or whatever the relationship is, and it would either be 2.5 times joint salary for your mortgage, or something like 3 times 1 plus 1 times the lower. There were proper calculations at one point.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at how much you pay on a mortgage now. Mine back then was £350 a month on a 3-bedroom house.
Wow, that's like such a distant memory. When you've got rents on a 1-bedroom flat in excess of 650, 700, even in my area.
Yeah,
just goes to show it's gone potty, hasn't it?
The good old days.
Do you think house prices will ever get cheap again? No, Jim.
Not with the current demand and the immigration, where we're getting more and more and more. And
the only ones you'll get cheap are the ones under government schemes and shit like that, because you'll never ever pay your bit off. You'll never own that home. They'll always own part of it. But it's the same as everything. The prices won't come down. They'll just keep them at the same level as wages increase. The same with the shops, supermarkets, petrol, everything. They can say what they want, but they'll never bring the prices down once they've gone up. Energy's the same. Remember, Starmer, we're going to save you £300 on each electricity bill a year. The fact that it's gone up by over 300 quid for most people a year, every year since.
On all this bloody green agenda and shit, we're paying a bloody fortune for this so-called green levy and all the rest of it, but we're not getting any benefit out of it.
Well,
we've got North Sea oil reserves and God knows what else that we could tap into, but no.
That's why I wanted to put that video out there today about COP30, the video I did this morning. It just shows the absolute hypocrisy that surrounds the green agenda.
Oh, totally, pal.
You pick one of the biggest areas on Earth that they should be protecting, because it is one of the main producers of oxygen for the fucking planet. You're going to fly thousands of delegates. Sorry.
Don't you mean arseholes?
A minute, a load of knobs.
Roger, I think you were right the first time, Roger. Delegates.
They're going to fly thousands of them in, all in jets. They're cutting a fucking great big swathe 8 mile long through the middle of the rainforest they're trying to protect, just so they can get to the venue.
That was amazing, wasn't it? It was 3 months ago, wasn't it?
See the hypocrisy.
That was stunning. That was a stunning bit of logic.
I wonder if Greta Thunberg's been invited to that. The Grumpy Goblin. Wouldn't surprise me.
She's on the domestic terrorist watch list throughout the world now, that one. The little goblin. Did you hear her moaning the other day in an interview? She can't find a boyfriend. I'm like, are you fucking surprised?
Well, let's put it this way. I've got standards. I mean, I know that she probably needs some sense effed into her, but not me. And I'm autistic myself. Work that one out.
They try and gaslight us and pull the wool over our eyes at every opportunity, Jen. Sorry, guys. I'm just answering some of the things because I tend to get focused on the panel and I tend to...
Her carbon footprint with jets and shit over the last 2 years is probably more carbon footprint than I've put down throughout most of my life.
Yeah. I mean, look at how many times has Starmer flown out of the country. Tens of thousands of miles he's got in the air for nothing, over things that they could do over a Zoom call.
Exactly. That was the point I was going to come up to. Yeah.
You know,
Zoom calls were good enough. Travel to bloody Brazil or whatever. They could do it all over fucking internet.
Think about during lockdown and the pandemic. The Zoom calls were perfectly good for all ministers, all Westminster, all world leaders back then. Why can't they do the same? They would save their country fucking millions.
Because they all like to go on their jollies at the taxpayers' expense, isn't it?
Well, you can't pass white powder over the Zoom, can you?
Are we talking about a certain incident in the train that was either proven or disproven? Yeah, I've heard about that one.
Sorry, babe. Were you on the phone?
We are.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yes, please. I mean,
hasty moving of packages. We'll get that out of the way. Nothing.
That's right. She's off and puffing now. I've needed another can of drink for about the last 20 minutes, and I'd only just realised she got up and walked out there. So she come back, and then I asked for it. But yeah, hello, Whelan. Yeah, watching Trump humiliate Starmer in person and he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing every time he's done it.
At the risk of sounding like an awful lefty, but does anybody really trust Trump?
It's like I've said about him before. Some of the stuff he's doing, absolutely brilliant for the country. Some of the things he's doing it the wrong way. But he did
I would put marginally more faith in him than I would in the current shit show. But do we want to become the 52nd state? Don't know.
Yes. It's always been that way. I mean, back in I think the late 90s or something. After Blair got in 97.
No matter which way round he's doing it, he's getting results. Yes, people see it as bullying and blackmail using tariffs and trade to achieve what he wants. But if these countries didn't want it, they wouldn't agree to it, would they?
However, there is one burning question. The Epstein list. Why has that not yet been published? He was all for it at one stage, wasn't he?
It doesn't exist.
Too many naughty names on there.
That list, believe me, does not exist. It was put together, in my opinion, to be used exactly the way they've been using it. When a news story breaks and they don't want it to come out, they bring up that as a recurring smoke screen. Oh, we found this in it now. Right. Boom, move on. That list does not exist. They already handed over, 9 files of it, supposedly. Has anybody seen it? Has anybody read it? Those boxes could have been empty. Yeah.
Did you see about a month ago or so, Robert F. Kennedy was talking about how they've got a surplus of those jabs, and Trump said, "Yeah, they're going to be used. Those jabs are going to be used."
Well, the thing is, it's not
He's
just
pressing the jab again, basically. And if you believe in Trump, then oh dear, we're all in trouble.
you know, if it's not just in this country, that is bang on.
Away from
People,
screen briefly. You don't want to see Markazi. Be back.
yeah, no worries, mate. By what they've done, they've cut their own throats because they've actually bred the mistrust in Big Pharma now. This is why people aren't taking up the flu jab and all these other jabs, because they've been told they're messing around, you know, same carrier, whatever, for that jab was this jab for COVID. And because none of them have told the truth, and it's been exposed that the truth wasn't told, the mistrust has gone in jabs, of all jabs, because even if it's a safe one, people are going to say, oh no, the others ain't safe, that ain't safe, you know. And you know, even the parents over their kids, a lot of them are reluctant to get their kids vaccinated over different things. It's simply because of what they've done. I mean, you look
continuing on with that, Roger, when they gave an exemption against prosecution to Big Pharma for side effects or deaths or whatever, that was the first thing that rung alarm bells. And then I did check with my GP, da-di-da. But yeah,
that was the big red flag that went straight up.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember as well? There were
jabs and vaccinations at one time, but not anymore.
Yeah, but you've only need that one flag now with the wonders of the internet, one sign that something's wrong, and there's going to be millions of people looking into it. Before, you never used to get that, did you?
They're working on the internet now as well.
There you go.
What, as in still trying to suppress information and shut people down for speaking against the narrative? See it all the time.
Can you imagine?
I mean, you look, I mean, what's that? Snow can't move and nobody's going to jail. Yeah, exactly. We won. You look at the illnesses that they keep coming out with now. Did anybody ever hear of any of these before 2020, 2021? I'd never heard of a turbo cancer. Never even heard the term.
Turbo cancer? The only thing I've heard about the turbo is to do with internal combustion engines. The other variation is supercharged or normally aspirated.
Yeah, it's...
I know it sounds like I'm taking the piss, but yeah, you're right. All these
things
they're coming out with.
You what, Steve?
I was saying those jabs. I don't know if I understood Graham correctly, but you said aspirated, and they were pumping. They were injecting into the muscle rather than a vein and stuff like that back in the day. I might have misheard you, Graham. Sorry.
To be fair, I was referring more towards the internal combustion engine, but you've picked up on something that I hadn't thought of. But yeah, no, fair dues.
All these things the kids are getting, you know, the ADHD, as they call it, all this sort of stuff. We never heard of that before. Yeah, autism.
A lot of that's to do with being a mobile phone zombie or on the fucking internet all the time.
No, I will admit a lot of that that I mentioned there was about back in the day. It's just that people didn't know what it was and didn't recognise it. They didn't know how to recognise it.
They didn't have names.
But yeah, they wouldn't even a name for it. But nowadays, there seems to be a lot more of it.
Yeah.
You know, they started to mess around with the food stocks and the foodstuffs a few years back. Additives, GM engineering. Is that
numbers?
Yeah, they basically banned a lot of pesticides, but people of certain generations, while they were still using them pesticides, have they passed something on from those?
Aluminium in the rodents.
The thing is, you can't trust the word they say.
That's a very, very pertinent question, because I'm old enough to remember seeing people that had the effects of thalidomide, where the mother was.
Same with me.
Yeah.
It's
don't see them about so much now because most of them unfortunately have passed on. But
Yeah, the same with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, so why did people still trust Farmer up until now? Oh, they've apologized for it. They admitted their mistake. You know, yes, some of it they knew it was going to happen, but they played the odds. But it didn't happen on the sort of scale as what we saw during the pandemic. And that's the scale of it is what opened people's eyes. I mean, everybody said the pandemic over the swine flu. That wasn't a pandemic. That was just a large worldwide outbreak. But if people had looked back to see what they did then, they would have been a lot more hesitant during this one, believe me.
Is it also because it's now more widely reported by the power of the internet and social media compared to what it used to be?
I knew about the swine flu. I knew what it did to people. People got very sick with it, as you would expect with something like that. But back then, what we didn't know was what surrounded it, because the things like the cases I did the videos on of the nurses and the jab that was around for that one, Pandermrix, we didn't hear what happened once it had been dished out. All of a sudden, it just disappeared and nobody talked about it until they changed the 1976 Damage by Vaccine Act, which was
There's so
changed
much
again
more
for this
knowledge you've got
pandemic.
compared to me. There's only so much I can take on board, to be fair.
Well,
All I know is the
there
situation
was
stinks.
it goes back to what you said, Graham, where they put in immunity for Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Now, what they put in was Big Pharma had immunity from being not prosecuted for it, but paying any compensation for it.
Ah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
The governments would pick up the tab for the compensation for the damage.
Capped at about 120k, if memory serves. Is that the figure that rings a bell?
It used to be unlimited, mate. There was 8 nurses in this country over the swine flu, and the jab they gave then got over 60 million between them.
Well, nowadays it's capped, isn't it? Fucking hell.
Nowadays, that's why they amended that act to say you could only claim up to 120 grand for damages. That can be lower, or it can be slightly higher if you jump through more hoops, depending on what damage was done to you. But it's not unlimited. And they put that in place straight after the pandemic because they knew how many cases were going to be coming. Have you heard of any cases of it in this country, but people have claimed compensation?
To be fair, there's only so much media and this and that I keep up with, Roger. Your knowledge is far greater than mine.
There's hundreds.
To be fair,
hundreds of claims went in. And this is what they do. They change the law to protect themselves.
Talking of changing laws to protect themselves, yeah. Funny how treason.
We once bang on that. In an age of information, ignorance is a choice. Now, if you've still got people about, and there probably is, like I was for many years, I wouldn't go near a computer, I wouldn't go online, I wasn't interested in it. And over the last few years, since I've learned how to use it, learned how to look up stuff, learned how to listen to things, I see a whole new world.
Yeah, and it's not looking too pretty, is it?
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, in my day, if you wanted to learn something, you had to go and buy an encyclopedia.
Or go to the library, yeah.
Nowadays, you can do it anywhere in the world, on a train, in a plane. As we once said, the information is there. And the only reason that people don't know what's going on is because they're ignorant to the information.
There's also something called information overload. There's so much information out there now. It's trying to sift the wheat from the chaff. Information overload.
As Loafer just put there, that is another one. They changed the treason laws to protect themselves.
Well, I mentioned that a moment ago, but yeah. Yeah.
But
It
yeah,
makes me
but and
sick.
again, I've always said, World Wide Web, social media, they are their own worst enemy. Because
I mean, it was
now,
originally, I think, brought in as a military application, I believe.
well, Facebook was a group of friends just to talk to each other, wasn't it? But that's what Zuckerberg designed it for. But now people are getting overloaded.
YouTube was originally a dating site.
And you've got the complication that you've got go through it all, knowing that half of that information is false.
That's the problem. Information overload.
And half of what you see, hear, read is false. So you've got to try and filter that through to get to the truth. You know, and that's where doing things like YouTube videos and that you've got to do. As I've always said, you don't look at the main story. You look at what caused that story. What's the story behind it? Okay, someone's been killed there. Say someone's been stabbed. It might not always be the perpetrator's fault. You know, you've always got to have that element of doubt when you see and read things.
Yeah.
You know, he could have stabbed somebody in self-defense. You know,
It depends on how it's reported, and mainstream media are very culpable for
and
their bias, shall we say. And
well,
sometimes it's not what they say, it's what they don't bloody say.
but this is the
And
thing.
trying to
I
read
mean,
between the lines can be very hard.
I
what
said
they
a while back that mainstream media have seen and heard what the public are feeling, and they're just trying to change a little bit. But there again, you get someone like the BBC come in with a right load of bollocks about Gaza, Channel 4 doing hit pieces on people, independent reporters and journalists. There's still,
Well, Channel 4 is owned by BBC One anyway, I think, or I think Channel 4's owned by BBC, so I can't class that as independent.
And I mean, Channel 4 has done some documentaries lately where they did the one undercover on the monitoring and tagging of prisoners. They totally ballsed up on the one with Gaza. And they exposed a lot of things. But even though they were exposing, they were only focusing on the things that the government have said and monitored and put out. Like we all know that the tagging system doesn't work. It's corrupt.
And they want to have an early release of more prisoners that are guilty of sex crimes and all this and that.
Yeah. And the system doesn't work. And that documentary did expose that. But then you look behind the scenes of documentaries. Which one can I use as an example? A year or two ago, there was a big protest in Bristol. Now, one of the companies were making a documentary, and Fire Finder actually filmed it. They brought in people and everything as false protesters, and they were getting them to walk backwards and forwards up the same bit of path so they could get this shot right for the protest.
Paid agitators.
Chris showed, he said, there's the false protesters. This is the false truth they're putting out. And he panned round to the other side of College Green. And he said, and there's the real protesters over there, look.
No, I've got a lot of time for Chris. He's a good man. Been subscribed to him for a number of years.
He can be a bit of a knob at times, but he does expose a lot. And he does put himself in the line doing so. You know, look at how many times he's been arrested. You know, not quite as many as blaggers, but
funny enough, I was out on the piss with blaggers the other week. We had a good session together.
Yeah, but he puts himself in the firing line for it, you know. But he's got a bit more to think about now with his nipper after the accident and that.
Oh God, yeah.
it looks like they're not going to continue the harassment on him. From
Well, he had a
the,
section 50 the other day. Got kicked out of bloody Wakefield, I think, over a load of bollocks.
yeah, he was only there for 10 minutes.
Clearly that, and the old Bill kicked in, and the ginger reporter and whoever else out of bloody Wakefield. So I think they
was it
resorted to Plan B,
34?
out on the pitch and do some old school auditing. No, I've got a lot of time for Blaggers. Like I say, I was out on the piss with him the other week. He was down my neck of the woods, which was brilliant.
I'll just say, all right, Jen. Well, it's gone 9 o'clock now, so I'm going to be shutting down in a minute anyway. It's
Hey,
time
thanks
for
for
me
having me on the
supper
live
and
stream, man.
bed.
It's appreciated, you know.
Yeah, not a problem. The last couple of weeks, I've been meaning to open the panel up and just see if anybody wants to pop up. So, I might do it again next week. See how we're going. But it's going to be a job to keep up with everything. It's happening very, very fast now. I mean, you got the EU falling apart. You got the Labour falling apart. I mean, most of the shit they took today was from their own people. But yeah,
Did you say the EU is falling apart?
The
The EU is falling apart. European Union.
Yeah, the countries are rebelling against von der Leyen and all sorts. They're not carrying out what she wants to do. And they're refusing to do things, and the EU's fining them for it, and the countries are refusing to pay the fines.
It seems like the EU and the UN are basically the heart of the rot.
Yeah, and who do they all ultimately hold accountable to? No, the WEF, mate.
Law unto themselves.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time when the
well, that's it,
United
guys.
Nations
I'm
were
gonna-
supposed to be peacekeepers, but there you go. It makes you wonder what their agenda is.
I'm going to call that it. Thank you for Graham, Stitch, Steve, for jumping up on the panel there for the last hour.
Respect.
Thank you for letting me up.
That's all right, darling.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Nice one, Roger. Nice one, Graham. Nice one, Stitch.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
big up, guys. Big up.
Exactly, mate. But as
We try and
always,
put the world to rights in our own small way.
exactly.
We've got to keep going, man. We don't give up that easily.
With that, thank you very much, people, for coming in. That's a good night from me.
And good night from her, and good night from him, and good night from her, and good night from him.
And as always, stay safe, stay strong, stay free.
Stay
Respect,
wicked.
guys.
Stay wicked.
Stay wicked. Yeah.
Just stay.
See you
Okay,
guys.
all the best, guys. Ta-ra.
All the best, all.
Yeah.